Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Can everyone hear me? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, welcome everyone to today's webinar. First of all, I would like to extend my gratitude to CDAE for hosting this webinar. And also thank you to all of you guys for joining today's session. And as you know, today we're going to be sharing, this will be like a sharing session on and to learn on how to unlock your Microsoft Teams for efficient collaboration spaces. Okay. Before I get started with unlocking with this webinar, first of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Hayati Samsudin, and then just a bit about myself. Okay, so I'm a faculty member at Food Technology Division, School of Industrial Technology. My specialization areas are actually in food packaging, mass transfer and polymers, and other packaging related topics. I teach courses such as food packaging and packaging related topics for certain universities, and also like food safety and post-harvest technology. That's just a bit about myself. Okay, so I'm sure that all of you guys, maybe perhaps some of you guys have used Microsoft Teams for your meetings, for instance, or you have used it completely. So this is actually the chance for all of us to actually unlock for real our Microsoft Teams for more collaboration spaces. And of which Microsoft Teams, they are not just limited for collaboration between among your colleagues, for instance, but you can definitely have your or use your Microsoft Teams as a platform for your courses, where you can actually interact more efficiently with your students. So I would say that these Microsoft Teams can be a one-stop center and also can be a platform that within the Microsoft Teams itself, you can have a lot of different functions. You can have a chat with your students. You can have, you can upload your class materials, for instance. You can share files with your colleagues if you have a Teams with your colleague. At the same time, you would also have the chance to work collaboratively with your students or with your colleagues, depending on the teams that you have, together on the same documents, for instance, like exactly the same how Google Docs is actually working. So this is the way how to actually, today I will just show you a bit on how you can actually unlock your Microsoft Teams and how you can create a team within your Microsoft Teams. Okay, so let's just go ahead and if you guys have any questions, for instance, you can just type it in the chat box. And then I will just halfway through this webinar, I will just try to actually answer your questions to the best of my knowledge. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so we are as the USM academic staff and staffs, we are so lucky that USM has subscribed for us Office 365. Okay, so within this Office 365, you can see that we have Outlook, where normally we go to actually access our email, and we have OneDrive, we have PowerPoint, and also Microsoft Teams. It's all embedded in Office 365. What you can do is actually, you can just go and click. For starter, you can just click on Microsoft Teams. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and click now. And then now we are being directed to the web app of the Microsoft Teams. So this is actually the how the looks of the Microsoft Teams on the web apps. Okay, and for these web app parts, as you can see, we have to be online. So I would just recommend you for more efficient working spaces. I would just recommend you guys, if you look at your left-hand side on the bottom parts, where the cursor is right now, you can see that this is the parts where you can actually download desktop app for your Microsoft Teams. Okay, so if you do download this to your desktop, this is easier in a sense that when you have limited internet connection, for instance, you can still work on your desktop apps. But if you are actually using it on the web app, you have to make sure that you have a good and strong internet connection. So that's just a bit difference in terms of the difference between web apps and also the desktop ones. So if you can just go ahead and click on this button. I already downloaded my desktop app, I already used it. So I will just bring you straight to my desktop app of Microsoft Teams. So you guys can see now, this is my desktop for Microsoft Teams. Okay, and then here you can see we have so many tabs on your left hand side over here. And also we have like, this is how the platform look like in general. For starter, I will just show you something on your right hand side. On the top parts, the corner parts, you have like the tabs of your profile. Okay, so you can just click on this profile, like for instance, so right now this is like my profile tabs. So they are mentioning that I'm actually in a meetings right now. So you can definitely change the status of your Microsoft Teams as you like. So if you are busy, do not disturb, or you are available, this can be changed accordingly. And then you can set a status message. This is like, if you just want to tell the people like, I'm feeling blues today, for instance, it's totally up to you. So you can also create this one. Okay, and then there's also a save button over here. So this save button, I will show you guys later on how it works. And this is one of the coolest feature that Microsoft Teams has just added. And then we have settings over here. Okay, if you click on settings, this is where you can actually play around in terms of the theme for your general platforms of Microsoft Teams. Okay, so you can choose default. Right now, I'm just choosing defaults because it's bright and light in color, so it's easier for your eyes. But sometimes you've been working a lot on the screen, so maybe perhaps you just want to see some contrast for more efficient eye capture. For instance, you can just choose the dark theme. So as you can see right now, it's actually changing to the dark theme. Okay, and then if you choose high contrast, you'll be able to see that's really high contrast, like the color is so striking. Okay, so I'll just go back to the default ones. And then you have also layout that you can choose. Two layout that you can choose from. You have either grid. If I click on here, you can see on the sides of the background now is actually becoming grid. And then if I go back to the list, now it's actually changing into the list part. Okay, so application, this is up to you, and also the language, you can just set it as you like. You can choose Malay language. There's so many other languages, and also the date and time format. Okay, the privacy settings, for instance. So if you choose, for instance, do not disturb status, but at the same time, you want to actually stay on the tops of one particular project, for instance, with that particular groups, what you can do is on the privacy tab here, you can actually manage priority access. In this case, you can actually search the names of the people who are involved, for instance, and then you will always be notified on about these people at any mention about it on the chat, calls, and also like mentions from any of the people below here. Okay, so this is one way of doing it. And then we also have like, for some reason, if you feel like you do not want to be in contact with one particular person, hopefully not, you have the option to block contacts. This is like our cell phone, for instance. Okay, so you can also choose to read receipts so that you will let the people know that you have read their messages, and then vice versa. And there's also survey buttons. So you go to notifications. So this is why I said that you can always use this Microsoft Teams as an efficient collaboration space, because they always keep you posted on whatever thing that is changing, providing that you turn on this notification for certain things. Like, it's up to you, like personal mentions. If anyone within all your teams, they had just mentioned you, then you'll be notified by banner and also email, which is nice. Okay, and then channel mentions, chat messages, replies to all the conversation you started, or to those conversations that you just replied before. Okay, so you can choose all these things. And then in this case, you won't actually miss any sort of announcement, for instance, or questions. So like, for instance, you have a theme for your course with your students, and then student had just asked you questions, and then you just have like your Microsoft Teams actually off for the day, and then you're just working. You will receive the notification. They will just show a pop-up tabs on your normally on your right corner up here, stating that somebody was just like sending you a message. You can read the message. You can reply to that message right away over there, or you can always go back and reply in your Microsoft Teams. And they, I think after a few hours, they will also send notification to your email so that you will always know what's going on, and if there's any things being asked by somebody else's concerning you. Okay. And then devices, this is where you can actually choose your devices. You can see like right now I'm using internal mic and speakers, but for instance, I'm using my headset. So you can definitely choose your headset is going to show up here. Okay. And then the same thing, you can try to make a test call, and then dash secondary ringer, and then you can see like your FaceTime high definition camera. Okay. So that's also permission. So permission, this is up to you if you want to turn on the location or media so people would know, or notification, definitely we want to do that. And then also this is for calls. So you have these options. But this again, for calls part, this depends on the policy. I haven't, honestly, I think like, I don't think the USM has allowed these functions. I mean, you can give a try if you want to, because like normally I know that for the international collaborations, normally they can just type in their someone's cell number. Okay, so I just saw there's a question from one participant. Oh, okay. So Microsoft Teams is actually for, yes, because USM has subscribed this for us. So anyone that does have USM email would be part of this, our Microsoft Teams organization. So in that case, you can always invite your students or your colleagues or anyone else to actually join your Microsoft Teams or Teams in particular. But if the person or your students, for instance, they don't prefer to actually use their USM email address, you can add them as a guest using their other Gmail or Yahoo address, for instance. Okay, and then I have a question notification. Yes. So these are the only options we have: banner and email, banner and only, and also I think feed. Number of participants, normally we do not have any limitations on the number of participants within your, for instance, your teams, each of the teams, but there is some limitation. For instance, if you have like, for instance, teams within your departments, for instance, and then you always have video calls meetings, and right now we have like remote teaching, for instance. If you have more than 20 people in that teams, you won't be able to actually take the meeting notes. So this is one of the limitation. But if your numbers of the participants of your team members are less than 20, you will be able to actually take the meeting notes for that particular video calls or meetings. Okay, so I will just show you guys later on. Okay, and so someone asked me what's the difference with WebEx. So which one user-friendly WebEx Teams? So this is again, from me, this is up to your preference. One thing I would say that, yes, someone did say Zoom is more friendly. Yes, I did prefer Zoom before, but right now they have so many problems, breachings in terms of the confidentiality and lots of other things that's going on. In terms of the WebEx, one thing that you have to know within the Microsoft Teams itself, if you don't want to use Microsoft Teams as a platform for your video conference, for instance, you can always use WebEx or Zoom within the Microsoft Teams itself, because you can add it inside of your Microsoft Teams. I will show you guys later on. So you can always go to any sort of forms of a way to communicate with your teams, either WebEx, either Zoom, or just by using whatever thing is already provided by Microsoft Teams. But I do think to a certain extent, Microsoft Teams does a bit of edge in terms of the differences on how they can set the meetings and also live events. I will definitely show it to you guys later on. Okay. Okay, so I will go back to the chat later on. So, okay, so we are done on the setting part. So as you can see now, so this is all being done on your profile tabs over here on the top right hand side. Okay, so right now, let's go to the our left hand side where you can see that we have so many different tabs over here. We have activity, we have chat, we have themes, assignments, calendar, calls, files, and we have ellipses, or I call it normally triple dots. It's easier. Okay, and then we have apps, we have help button if you have any things that you want to, any helps that you need to. And then you have over here on the very top one, remember that just now during the web app of the Microsoft Teams, they showed this desktop, download desktop apps, right? So right now, if you feel that you always wanted to keep track of all the themes that you are working on, you have lots of important projects that you always want to stay on the tops of it, what you can do is you can definitely click on here and you can use the QR code scanner, and then you can download this to your cell phone. Okay, so this is one of the way. Okay, and so to create a themes, so first of all, I will show you guys how you can create your own themes using this Microsoft Teams platform, and then I will go through each step one by one later on once we have created the themes. And then another thing is I will also show you with one of my examples of my themes, because with the MT themes right now, if I'm going to create ones, there are some functions that you won't be able to see. Okay, so as the name implies, Microsoft Teams. So always the core parts of the themes is themes. Okay, so the first thing you have to do to create a theme is to go to the themes tab. So over here right now, I have like a few groups, a few themes over here. And then if you want to create a new themes, you just go down here where you can click join or create a theme. So perhaps someone's already created a theme for you. So they just want you guys to actually join the theme. So you can join over here, or you can just create your own themes, whether it's with your colleagues for a collaborative project, or with your students for the one of your courses or all of your courses. So I just go ahead and click on here. So then you are being directed to these parts where you can see the first one is create a theme, and then you can join a theme with a code. And then this is one that's already invited so that you can just join directly. Okay, so in this case, we're going to create theme. So just click on creating themes. So you have 4 different theme types. Okay, one is class. This is for discussion, group projects, assignment. Okay, and then we have professional learning community, and then we have staff, and we have others. Okay, for the theme types. So I see there's some incoming question. Okay. Yes, if your collaborator do not have Teams accounts, they can definitely join the meeting. You just have to invite them as a guest. I will just show you guys. The meaning that they are using different email address. Okay, and then okay, sorry. Okay, Dr. Srimala. Okay, I will just try to slow down. I'm so sorry. Okay, so guests have restrictions. This depends on you. You can actually create a settings for your guests. If you want to give them freedoms to do some things, you can definitely give them ones, because you are the owner, so you decide. Okay, and then how are the different types? How are the types different from each other in terms of features? So of the themes parts, Okay, so definitely I can just go later on. Okay, for the theme types over here, for instance, for the class ones, they have a built-in templates that just comes in handy, where they have tabs on assignments, tabs on grades, and tabs on files, and also student notebooks. Okay, so this is for the class type. For professional learning community staff and others, so definitely you as the class one, but with less staff. Okay, like for instance, like for PLC or staff or others, definitely you do not want to grade anything. This is more collaborative kind of teams. So you would have the tabs of files, for instance, that you can share. So something like that. That's the difference between that. Okay, and then we will take a look later on. So I will just go ahead and click or choose the class theme type, because this is the most comprehensive one that they have all the tabs. You can definitely adjust these or change this accordingly. Definitely the same things for the other theme types. So I will just go ahead and click on class. So now they said create your theme. So we will be the owner. Okay, and then the students will participate as members. Okay, so this class theme type will allow you to create assignments, quizzes, to record any student feedbacks, and you can actually give feedback to the student. You can grade the students, and lots of things that you can do. So I will just go ahead. So let me just name this as I'm just creating a themes on perhaps we have Microsoft Teams course. Okay, and then you can definitely type in the description of this course if you feel like a synopsis, for instance, like what we normally do for eLearn. Okay, and then if you feel like you want to create your theme from scratch, you can go ahead. If you already have existing theme that you want to use as a template, like for instance, from one of the classes that you taught previous semester, so definitely you can click here. You can choose in any one of the themes which templates that you feel the most, that you prefer the most. Okay, or you can always go back and start from scratch. So right now I'm just going to start back from scratch. So you can just say Microsoft Teams. Okay, just Microsoft Teams course. Okay, and then I can just click next. So here, yes, creating the theme. Okay, so and then here you can you can add people to your Microsoft Teams course. So if you have a students, you can actually type in their names. So as long as you're using, as long as the students, you're using students USM email address, then you can type it down. Like for instance, right now, I'm just thinking like, let me just type city. So we can see all city there are under USM organization with USM email. So you can just click from here. Okay, if not, if your student is not within our organization, like they prefer to use their own personal Gmail address, something like that. So what you can do is actually you can just type their own email address over here. So this is, and they are going to be parts of the teams. Okay, teachers, if you are, for instance, like co-teach the class with somebody else's, so you can actually add in another teacher's email address here, and then they will be part of your teams. So this is one way of doing this. You can definitely, if you have distribution list, you can copy it and paste it here. So it's much more easier. Or else, there's another easier way of doing so. I will just show you later on, where you can share the link of these teams to anyone that you prefer to be parts of the teams, and then they can just click on the link and they will be automatically directed to join these teams. Okay, so we can just keep this for now. So now you already created on this, so you can see that's a Microsoft Teams course. Okay, and we can see that's the ellipses over here. If you click here, you can go for more options. So here you can choose to hide these themes if you feel that, okay, for now, I'm just done with these themes. I don't want it to mess my tabs over here. And then you can always go back and then click on your hidden themes. They will just show it. And then you can click on the ellipsis again. And then you can just click on show again. So then they will be shown again on these tabs. You can manage your teams. So managing your teams that you can see right now, you are the owner. Okay, and then they will definitely mention members. Over here also you can add another members again, and then channels. So how many channels do you have right now? We only have one channel within this Microsoft Teams course. Okay, but definitely you can add more channels. Like for instance, I just want to add another channels. Let's say that project. Okay, and then is this project? So you know there are options like either standard or okay, what's the meaning of the channel? Okay, the channel means that you know like folders, different folders, like you know you can just work on. So you can have like projects, you can have training channel. So everything's related to training is going to be happening in that channel. Anything related to that particular projects will be happening in that particular channels. General channels is just for everyone else, where everything else just going to be there for everyone's. And like I mentioned earlier on, when you want to add channel here, like for instance, I just want to add, maybe I can just say like training channel, for instance, and then you can set the privacy settings. Maybe within your Microsoft Teams course, you do have a big groups of 50 people, for instance. And then, but you want to separate these groups that, you know, maybe 10 of these, 10 persons from these big groups, you want to assign them a different things to work on. You want to have a different collaborative project with this particular groups, smaller groups. So you can actually choose the private settings where this is only accessible to a specific groups of people within your team. Okay, meaning that if you have a lot of people, like 50 people inside of your Microsoft Teams course, so but now for this particular training channel, I just want to share this work, and this is my collaborative works with just a few people, then I can just choose privacy with the private options, meaning that only these people can access the training channel. Okay, if not, if this is like for everyone else within your teams, so you can just click standard, meaning that is accessible to everyone on this particular team. Okay. Okay, so and then you can just, so right now you can choose to automatically show this channel in everyone's channel list if you want to. If not, you can just unclick this and then you can just click add. Okay. Okay. So now within the Microsoft Teams course, we do have two channels, general and training. You can add more if you want to. Okay. And again, within this, you have more ellipses here, you know, because, you know, you can just manage the channel over here. And then, for instance, you have like so many different themes right now. The same thing as like in WhatsApp, when you have conversation, normally when you have conversation with someone else, you keep having the conversation, so that particular persons or that particular groups in the website will always be on the tops, right? And then everyone else will always move to the down parts, less important. But in the case that you think that you have some themes that you would like to prioritize more than any other themes here, what you can do is you can click here and then you can decide to actually, this one over here, you can actually leave it here as, you can manage the themes, and then later on you can actually pin the themes. Okay, so in this case, for instance, like the general themes part, you can pin here. So this for within the Microsoft Teams, you can have this part actually pin here. So it's always be on here, on top of here. It's not going to be changing. Okay, so you can unpin it back again and then just leave it as it is. The same thing for training. And then here, okay, this is another way of actually getting people to join your particular channel or your particular themes. It's actually by clicking on get link to channel. When you get link to channel, so this is the link, you can just copy this link. So be copied to the clipboard. You can send through the calendar invite, for instance, or you can just send through an email. So someone's that have this link, they can just join this particular channel automatically, for instance. Okay. So let's go back to this Microsoft Teams course themes. Okay, so the general parts, you can see this is the main platform right now. So we have like several tabs on this top part. Okay, so we have general, we have post. So right now we have in the post, we are in the post tabs. Okay, so over here when you are just starting, they just show you like you can upload class materials here, you can find helps and training. So if you upload class materials, you can just click on here and then you'll be directed to the files tab. Okay, so this is where this is where you can actually create a folder. This is already automatically created for you, a folder on class materials. Or you can create up here new folder, new documents or something like that. Okay, so let's just go back to the post part. Okay, so if you do not see this one, normally you would just see it in the beginning, but later on, after you have started all the conversation, this will just move up further. So you can always go back to files and then upload your materials as you like. Definitely over here in the post part also, you can upload some materials to be shared with your team members. Okay. So here is where you can actually type, you can have a communication with your team members. So this is really effective. So instead of like in you communicating with your students through WhatsApp group, for instance, you can always communicate through this channel where they will be notified of any messages, any mention of their names, so they can always know what's going on, what's changes, and the updates. Okay, so but you have to make sure that the notification part is being turned on for that particular reasons. So if you go down here, if you can see now, we have the formatting and style button over here. So if you click on here, so you can expand this, you can type the subject, like welcome remarks, for instance. Okay, so you can just type the messages up here. You can change to different styles. You can have highlights and a lot of things. If you think that this is the most important part, so you can change the status here. Okay, so this is important messages that you want to deliver to your team members. So you can just click and notify them. Okay, so this is like to over here to undo typing or repeat typing. And if, for instance, in this case, you can also set this message up by the sense that, everyone can reply once they see this message, or only you and moderators can reply. So you can actually choose any option. And if, for instance, this message is intended for all the themes or different channels that you may have over here, so you can just click here like post in multiple channels. So right now you have general, so you can add like select channels. Okay, you can select channels from any of the other themes that you have. So this is one of the extra function that they do offer. Okay, so if not, you can just click back on here and then you can just send this message to this particular general channel within the Microsoft Teams course. Okay, and then if let's see what else. Okay, so over here also you have the attachment button where you can actually click browse Teams channels, or from OneDrive, it's already connected to OneDrive. You can actually find the attachment from here, videos, for instance, that you can just attach for the students or for your team members to actually be able to access those directly in the post part. Okay, you also have options on the emoticons, GIFs, if that's something of your interest. And then there's some memes, maybe you want to actually cheer your students up, for instance. And within this post tab, you can also choose to call or have a video calls with your team members. Okay, so you can just click on here like meet now. So I'm just going to click here. So you can add subject here. So like, maybe a discussion on Microsoft Teams, for instance. Okay, and then you can turn on or off the camera if you like. You can schedule a meetings through here that is going to be saved automatically in calendar, or you can just click meet now. Okay, so I just click meet now. Okay, so now we are being directed to the platforms where you can actually have meetings with your students or the other team members within your teams. Okay, so in here you have all the buttons. The same thing as WebEx. You have camera, you have microphone. You can share. The PowerPoints window, or you can share whiteboards if you want, because if you want to teach the students, for instance, using my Microsoft Whiteboard, definitely you can just click on here and start teaching. So this is actually comes in handy, especially for, I think, calculation or a math tutorial class, for instance. Okay. And then, or else in these ellipses, you can have more actions. So you can show device settings, the same thing. If you want to use headsets, you can choose it from here, or else you just use built-in internal mics or speakers. Okay, and the same thing, you have another options that, show meeting notes. So this is what I mentioned earlier on, that you can have lots of people within your teams, but to take meeting notes, one of the limitations is actually when you have a team members of more than 20 people, you won't be able to actually have the meeting notes. So this is one of the limitations within the Microsoft Teams. Or else you can just take notes right here and then it will be posted. You can always refer back to the meeting notes. Another thing with these meeting notes, once you have started your meetings, only people who are already in the meetings will be able to access these meeting notes. Okay, but those people who came late, they won't be able to see and access these meeting notes. So, but you can find another way of actually sharing this with your team members if they happen to just come late to your session. Okay, and then we also have another, like you can enter full screen. This is the things that I like show background effects. Okay, so I just go here. Like for instance, I don't like my background right now. So what I can do, I can just choose to blur it out. Yeah, I just saw that someone mentioned something about taking the notes. Taking the notes, like if you have a teams within your departments, maybe you have your departments meetings, you would have a secretary, right? So the secretary would be able to actually take the meeting notes, and then later on can just share with everybody else later on. Okay. So right now, if I just choose for the background settings, I don't like my background, I can just choose this one and then I say like apply to it. So right now, everything is blurred behind me. Or else I feels like, no, I just want to change to a different ones that, feel like I'm working somewhere else, then I can definitely choose a different background settings. So they won't know where I'm at right now. So, okay. So this is one of the nicest thing about the background settings. Okay. And then you can also like turn on live captions if you want to. That's keypad. And then for instance, like recording part, so you can definitely, once you started this video calls, you can start recording. So this is like good for your other team members who cannot make it on the day, or actually they cannot join on time, for instance, so they can always go back and check the recording later on. Okay, and then that's the raise your hand options, where if you want to interrupt the speakers or anybody else's without actually turning on your microphone. Okay, and also there's a conversation where you can actually type questions here, because this is a meeting, so it's supposed to be interactive. It's not only one person talking and everybody's just listening. So it's a meeting where we actually discuss, right? So they would actually allow just that for the chattings, and also you can also raise your hands and you can actually talk to whoever it is. Okay, and then another thing is, this is also the nice part. You have like show participants over here. You have participants over, you will see the list of all the participants over here. As you can see, you can also invite someone. Okay, so by inviting someone that they can join later in the middle of the meetings, for instance. So, but this person won't have also access to those meeting notes. Okay, and then one thing here, if you see, if you are teaching your students using this particular video calls, you can download the attendance list over here. You can see download attendance list. So by this case, you don't have to take any attendance list. They would have the timestamps when the student join this particular class or session. Okay, so you can have this. Okay, so that's all about it. If you are done, they can just hang up. Okay, so this is one of the function, and they will just show that what was happening. Okay, and then you have also this is a buttons for streams. If you want to insert any link for Microsoft Stream, you can also praise someone if you feel like. And then WebEx, this is WebEx here. So for instance, you are working within Microsoft Teams and then somebody else has invited you to join a WebEx meetings, and then you don't have to actually go to individual browser to just look for WebEx. What you can do here, you can just enter the personal room ID or meeting number, and then you'll be able to actually join the WebEx meeting within your Microsoft Teams. Okay. And then we have also like YouTube. So if you want to add a YouTube video here, what you can do is just to type in the URL for the YouTube, and then you can have the browse YouTube for videos, for instance. Okay, so you can just search the terms. Let's say we have Microsoft Words and something. So Teams, anything. Okay, yeah, so how to use, if you want to go ahead with this one, like for instance, we can just click on here, it's going to be there. And then other ones, you can add more apps, and then you can definitely paste the message. Okay, so everything's going to be up here. Okay, so that's for the post part. And then you can go to files. Okay, once you go to files, this is where you can upload your class materials within this folder, and then they will just show that when this is last modified, and then who actually did modify the materials. And then if not, you can always go back to this general parts where you can add more like folder. So you're thinking about maybe another folder on project one, for instance, you can just create a folder on project one. So this was created a few seconds ago by me. Okay, and then you can definitely upload materials. Okay, if you want to upload any materials up here, you can do so. Okay, and then for instance, like another thing is you can work like Google Docs, for instance. So if within this project one, so all the team members, you guys are working on the same documents, you can just create exactly as like a Word documents here. You can say like, okay, project one intro, for instance, and then you create the document here. Okay, and then you have like this Microsoft Doc. It's exactly the same way, so everyone can work collaboratively, and then you will be able to see. Okay. Okay, so like for instance, here is in editing mode. So make any changes or reviewing, you change this, you can add comments or suggest changes. And then you can definitely have some comments up here or conversation. So, if for instance, like, you want to ask something to your team members, you can do so over here. Okay, so a lot of things can be done here. You can download later on these documents when it's done. So you can just close it, and then they will just mention when it was last modified and who actually did the modification. Okay, and then you can sync this with OneDrive, definitely, if this is something that you want for as a backup. And then you can copy link to this particular project folder. So you can do so. You can definitely download. Okay, and then so right now it's downloading. Okay, you can open in SharePoint. So there's a lot of things that you can do within the files tab. Okay, and then you can go to class notebook. So if you go to class notebook, this is where this is the I think one notebook by the Microsoft Teams. Sorry, by Microsoft or Office 365. So you can set up a OneNote class notebook. This is actually to give your students a private space for notes or any canvas for collaborations for any particular projects. So what you set it up, so the setup will be applicable to all of the students or team members within these particular teams. So you can click here and set it up. So you can create a blank notebook. Or you can create from existing notebook content. So this is definitely, so they will tell you, here's what you will get with Microsoft Teams course notebook. So that's collaboration space where the teacher, the owner can edit the content. Student can also edit. That's collaboration. Content library means that you can edit the content, but student can only view. So this is more for like course materials. You do not want the students to actually change your course materials. Okay, and then you can have like teacher only section. You can also have create student notebooks where the you can edit, you can give comments to the student work. But in this particular student notebooks is actually private to individual students. The other students won't be able to see their friends' notebooks. Okay, so you can, if this is like for existing one, you can go ahead and add content, for instance, or if not, so you can create something, like over here, student names. As long you have like all the list of the students here, they will be automatically naming after the students. And then you can click if you don't want to have these handouts, so you can just remove this. Class note, you already have class note over there, but maybe you want to use this for homework or quizzes, for instance. So you can leave these folders up here or tabs up here, and then you can add section, another section that you want, maybe forum or something like that, or FAQ. So it depends on whatever thing that is necessary. Okay, so you can just go ahead and create. Okay, so once you have created, so right now they are actually creating this. Okay, you can see that if you click on these tabs over here, okay, go back up here, click on this tab, then you have like welcome notes here. We have collaboration space. This is where your students can work and edit together the works with you. And that's content library. This is where you can actually upload your materials, but the student will only be able to view. And then there's a teacher only sections. That's only for teacher. But right now, because we don't have any team members within these teams, so there's no tabs with the students' names. But I would definitely give you a quick look at one of my teams that already set up. Okay. And then so here you can they can do a lot of different things. They can type the notes. There's a lot of things they can do. And then this is one of the nicest thing over here. It's more this. Okay, like for instance that you want to have like to-do list. So to-do list, one, and then there's two, three. So this is actually really nice. So you can check and then uncheck. So this is also nice for the students. They would know like what kind of tasks they are given, and then when they can actually do. So this is more on the functions of the class notebook. Of course, this is something that you can access individually without being part of the Microsoft Teams. But if you want to use it within Microsoft Teams, it's also possible. So there's so many different things you can try. So let's go to the assignments tab. Okay. So over here, you can get started to create assignments or quizzes or manage any timelines. You can add grading rubrics and lots more. So let's just get started here. So they will just ask you, okay, you don't have anything else here. So if you want to create, you create it. You can click assignment if you want to create an assignment. Or you can click quiz if you want to create a quiz. If, for instance, you want to use exactly the same templates, just with some modification into the questions, you can definitely select from existing one. Okay, so if you just go ahead and click assignment, for instance, just as an example, you can type like, okay, assignment one, okay, maybe presentation, okay. So presentation, instruction, you can give instruction, okay. Please read the instructions attached and please create a video presentation, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so you have already this here, and then you can add resources. So if I click there, I can actually add resources like, add new files here from my Microsoft Teams, or I can just add it for my device. Okay, so I have, I don't know, like maybe I can just, click here, for instance. Okay, so it's done. You already have the instruction attached here. And then now you want to give points to the students for this particular assignment. So it's maybe worth like 25 points, for instance. Okay, but this is on the presentation part. So what you can do is you can add rubric so that students know how they can be graded later on. So rubric, you can just go like, reading assignment, like this one, I had it before. You can upload existing rubric if you do have one here, or you can just create a new rubric over here. So you can just say like, presentation rubric. Okay. And then you can type description if you want, and then you can change this criteria like excellent, good, fair, and poor. Or if you want to just change it to number, you can just change it to number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is up to you. Okay. Or else if you want to have like 5 different categories of assigning their levels of understanding, so you can go further. And also the same thing here, like maybe you are talking about this is presentation, maybe you want to ask them about, evaluate them on comprehensions, for instance. Okay, and then later on presentation skills. So you can definitely add more criteria over here, and then once you are done, you can just attach it. So the student will be able to see this. Okay, and then you have, right now the point, because you already have the rubrics here, so the point is no longer available right now. Okay, and then you can assign this to your Microsoft Teams course, okay, or this is for another Teams, for instance. So this is actually for all students, and then this is when exactly is the due date. So maybe the due date is actually for tomorrow by midnight. Okay, so this definitely for this assignment, student can they will be allowed to actually turn in late for the assignments, but definitely you would just know because they will give the status. Okay, I will just show you an example later on. So you can actually, if creating these assignments takes a lot of times, you do not have lots of time to just finish it, you can just save it. So it'll be saved as draft, and then you can always go back and try to edit your draft. So once you are done, you can just assign it to your students. Okay. So once you have assigned this, so you can always click on this. So this is the assignments. Okay. And then, so you see right now, there's a tab here, assignment mentioned. Okay, assignment mentioned in Microsoft Teams. So that's activity tabs. So that's the feeds. That's the notification. The students, everyone's within this particular channel will be notified on these new assignments. You go here, so they said like assignment. One presentation view is when, and you can just go back to view assignment. Okay. So this view assignment right now is ready. You can actually edit the assignments you feel like. And also at the same time, you can see the student view. You click here, this is how the student will see the assignment. So they say assignment 1, due tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. The instruction is here, and then they have some reference materials, and then there's no point, but there's presentation rubric. So the student can always click in here and they would know how they are going to be evaluated. Okay, so once that's done, so the student will turn in their assignments and things, and then you can go and grades those assignments accordingly. Okay. So you go to grades, they're going to create, like now, because we don't have any students listed under this Microsoft Teams course. So, they are not showing anything, but one thing, they will just have a list of the student here, and then when they do submit it, and then you can give feedback, you can return back the feedback to the students, you can give them marks over here. And then later on, whatever thing that's happening for that particular assignments, you know, because sometimes we have like course profile that we have to submit. So you can definitely export those files to Excel or information to Excel, and then you can just use it as your copy. Okay. Okay, and then we are done with the grade step in here. And then another thing is this is a plus button where you can add things. Okay, so it feels like, you know, there are so many options. You can add Cisco WebEx meetings up there, OneNotes, for instance, a stream, or PowerPoint, or YouTube if you want to have like YouTube video availables up here. Okay, there are so many options here. Okay, maybe, okay, I will just show you guys something like, okay, for instance, YouTube. So you can add in YouTube. Okay, so you can search and paste a link. So if you have any particular YouTube video that you want to actually be parts of these tabs, you can. And then you can just post it up here. So they're going to be available here. I will show you one thing. So maybe some of you guys did join the Genially section like 2 weeks ago, I think. Yeah. So, you know, you can, if you feels like you want to have that Genially presentation as part of your lecture notes, that you want to make it available among all the tabs up here, you can do so. Okay, I will just give you an examples on that. Let me go here. Just type Genially. Okay. So like for instance, okay, right now I have like one lecture for misconduct in research. So you want to share this to your student within that channel. You can click this is share button. Okay. So you can just go to the link. So you can copy the URL link, and then you go back to your Microsoft Teams here. You can add here. What you can do is you can just go to the website. Okay, so you have the website. You can just name it like, okay, this is misconduct in research, for instance. You can just paste your URL link here, and then we posted, and the notification will be posted to the channel, and you can just save it here. Okay. So once it's actually saved up here, so you see, you can have the students can always go up here. They can, you know, take a look at the notes, the lecture notes just right here. You can do exactly the same thing for Microsoft PowerPoints, for instance. You can add different things, different tabs up here. So as I said, you know, if you want students to have video submission, you can use Flipgrid, for instance. So there's a lot of possibilities, or YouTube videos. Okay. So these are one of the things that you can do within this Microsoft Teams. And you can show like, you know, tabs optimization. You can expand the tabs. If this is like a refresh button and things. Okay, so these are all the things that you can do. You can definitely, here you also have another things down here, like you can change, you know, manage your teams here. So here you can see like, okay, all the analytics about your teams, and then these are the analytics also particular about the teams. You can create teams over here, okay? And then you can always go back and switch view. Like for instance, suddenly you just feel like you want to change to a different view. So definitely you can just do so, okay? Any times that you feel like. Okay, so now let's go and take a look at this activity, the tabs in the left hand side. Okay, so because you already created the themes, okay, so the first tab is actually activity tabs. As you can see, this is where you're going to be notified with any changes, as long as you turn on the notification. Okay, so you can choose to just do it for the banner or the feed, or you can just choose for emails altogether. So it's up to you, meaning that you'll be notified like 3 times in different options, you know, email, and then there's a feed channel. So this was just mentioned here. So you can see like this is the latest feed. Okay, and then chat. So you can definitely go to chat. So for chattings, they will just combine everything else regardless from which teams that this chat is actually from. So, and someone who doesn't even involved in any of your teams, but they are parts of the USM organization, they can still contact you. Okay, so if I feel like, I want to chat with someone else, I can just go and click here, and I can just type their names, and then, I can just send the messages to this particular person. Okay, and then as we already go through and you also have like context over here. Okay, and then you can also, this is the themes. This is where you can manage your themes. You can go to the different themes over here. You can see, I will give you a quick glance through one of the themes, my themes later on. And then assignments. So it feels like you want to see the assignments. Okay, let's go and see, like you can choose from which class that you have the assignments from. Okay, just now we just had an assignment for Microsoft Teams course. You can just click here and then click next. So they're going to show you, okay, this is the current assignment. So where you can go and grade the assignments if the student have actually turned in their assignment. Okay, so as simple as that, you don't have to always go to through the themes. Okay, and then that's calendar. Okay, so the calendar part is actually very nice, comes in handy. You can use it like, I just use it for specific things, not for all of my things. So, but within your Microsoft Teams, you can actually create all the events that you want within this calendar. Okay, there are two options when you set up the meetings. You can actually go and meet now, you want to, or you can have new meetings that you can have like two options. One is you can schedule a meeting, and then, or you can actually schedule a live event. Okay, there are like few differences between meetings and also live events. So I will just show you how you can schedule meetings. This is a normal things. You schedule meetings, you can just type like meeting on Microsoft Teams 101, something like that. And then you can choose the time zone, depending if you have international collaborators, for instance, and you feel like it's much more convenient for you to just keep it within their time zone, then you can definitely change it as you like. And then you can add in, required attendees, for instance. So, as long as the people is actually within our organization with the USM email, again, you can just click, their names from the list. Okay, or else you can just add in their own their full email address. And then maybe there's some people that you just want to invite as optional attendees. You can also do that. Okay, and then right now, just say we just want to have a meetings right now, and then it's going to start soon at 11:30 a.m. It's going to last about 30 minutes. Okay, so you can just set it up, and then if this is like, if you use this Microsoft Teams to create the teams if your department, for instance, and you always want to have a bi-weekly meetings, or you want to have like monthly meetings, you can always click here, and then you can actually set it up. Okay, or you can just custom made it. Okay, if this is just one time, you don't have to repeat this. And where do you want to add this information of the meetings to? Okay, so you can actually create, like for instance, you can add channel. So this is actually for Microsoft Teams channel general. Okay, so this is for all the members. So you can just go with general. If you think this is actually for the training ones, you can just choose training teams with the specific groups that I mentioned early on. Okay, and then you can add location if you want to, but that's no need if this is more remote. You can add informations about this. Okay, we will discuss on MT 101, for instance. Okay, something like that. Okay, so, and another thing is when you have like this system within your organization, this comes in handy where everything else is so open that you can use scheduling assistant, where any of the attendees up here, you can access to their calendar. Okay, but providing that they're using this calendar, like in my case, I use it occasionally for certain things, but not for all of my calendar or my agenda, for instance. But in this case, we have all the team members, and then every one of you guys are actually creating your own calendar within these systems. It's actually easier for you to set up a meeting with your team members without asking them to fill in doodles, because you can just take a look and see like, oh, everyone is actually available during this time in this particular day. Okay, so you can just choose that time and particular day. And then once you are done with the setup, and then you can just send this. And then all these required attendees, they will be notified that there will be a meetings in one of their free slots. Okay. So in this case, it's ready. You can just send. Okay. Once you send, today is 19. So okay, it's up here. So it's actually creating right now inside of your calendar. After I just switch to the tab, so maybe it's ready. Yeah, it's ready now. Okay, I will just, this is one way of actually setting. I will just show you how this works later on with the meeting. It's almost the same thing as the Meet Now button. But also another thing is you can set up a live event. Okay, that's a difference. That's a difference between a normal meeting and live event. So normal meetings, we all, this is meeting and we should discuss among each other. We should listen to each other and somebody can just voice their opinions or something like that. But live event is more like one-way directions, like one-way communication, in a sense that there will be like one particular person who's going to actually be talking or presenting and everybody just watching. And through the live event function, you can choose whether you want to allow the Q&A sessions or not. So this is up to the organizer or actually the producer of this live event. So I'll just go ahead here and just show you how you can create a live event. So that's a slight difference on the settings, okay? So right now you're setting a live event. So let's just see like MT training, okay? For instance, okay, location, there's nothing, there's no building, we haven't created any. Okay, and then you can start like also this is going to start later on, maybe track or something like that. You can give a try, and then you can provide info about the live event. So right now I am the producer, so I have more controls over this live event. I can invite those who I want to invite, and I can also invite presenters. So you can invite presenters if they are, the persons coming from our organizations, USM organizations. You can definitely just type more, so you can find those people who's going to. So I have Pranzana, for instance, here that I want to invite Pranzana to be parts of the. Let's just say I want to invite Pranzana to be the presenter, and I can switch her role as if I want to. Okay, and you can invite more presenters. Okay, so one is done. You can just click next, for instance, and then you have people and groups. So these are your live event permissions. Okay, so people and groups means that you just want only specific people to attend this training. So you have a group of people. So you can just add in the person email address or a group of people over here to give them permission. And then if this is actually organization-wide, meaning that everyone with USM emails, they can actually join, but they are required to sign in using their USM email. Okay, and then we have public. So public means that just anyone can just join this live event without having to sign in or anything else. It's just available. Okay, and here how you can actually produce, for instance, your live event. So this is the themes one. So as you can see, this button recording available to producers and presenters. So meaning is that this is already by default. The Microsoft Teams, they are going to record it, the live event session for producers and presenters, of which you can actually share this live event later on with your attendees. Or you can actually provide an options by clicking this box. You can actually provide the recording options to your attendees. Okay. And then there's captions, and then there's attendee engagement report if you want to get to know what's going on during the times. So this is when you can actually click here Q&A, because if you click Q&A parts here, you can have the reports later on. So you know what kind of questions being asked, who asked the question, something like that, and you would actually allow the participants or attendees to actually ask questions using Q&A tabs that's going to be available. Okay, and then you can just schedule. Okay, so once you have scheduled, okay, so now this is ready. So these live events, they are going to notify me and Wanzana as the presenter and producer and organizer about this occasion or this event. But for the attendees, you still have to do another job. So you have to get attendee link, and then you can just send this to everyone else, depending on the selection that you choose. Is this for a specific group of people, or if this is actually for your organization? So as long as they have USM email address, they can just sign in and join the live event. Okay, and then you can cancel the meetings if you like, and then you can join the meetings, Teams meetings right away, or you can just chat. Okay, so let's just close this. Okay, so now I have two things created on my calendar. One is meeting. So you can see meetings, they have a different sign here, and then I have live event meetings over here. So I will just click on here. Okay. So right now, just thinking that I'm going to join, I will just join this event. So you can see me right now. Okay, so again, you can set up the background as you like. Okay, and then I can just, everything is ready. I can just click join in the meetings. Okay, so once I'm in the meeting, so you can do exactly the same thing as I mentioned earlier on. You can also have the options to actually download the attendance list. Okay, and then so this is done. We can just hang up here, and then you can go back to your calendar. Okay, let's give a try on MT live event. Okay, you click here, so you have the option here, so you can join this live event. Okay, so the same thing, we're going to turn this on, and then I can just join now this live event as a producer. Okay, so the setting, you can see the setting is a bit different. Okay, now we have like two different windows. Okay, so you have the queue one, means that only you can see this. The attendees will only see this live event. I mean, they can just see like the live event hasn't started. Okay, they will just see this part. So up here you have the names of your event. You have the times that you started here, and then they're going to count down how many minutes that has passed by, and then you can see the numbers of attendees later on who joined this particular live event, and the status right now is pre-live. Okay, so here, so I want to add my content that I want to share for this live event, right? So as user, just go to share. You go to share, you can select from your window existing ones, or you have like aseptic processing. For instance, I have this one particular presentation. Okay, so let me just go back here. Okay, so I have it here. So what I can do is just click here, and then this is going to be available up here. Okay, so once available here, so but this is queue. You can see this. So right now, this is live events. Normally, people want to see you talking or presenting your content. So you can choose these tabs on the right-hand side, where you can have another option that you can click here and add your video here. So now you can see the presenter and you can see the content. Okay. So and then this is not yet live, so you can just click to send to live later on. But before that, I will just want to show you we have some other tabs. So right now, if I have like I have option to leave this event as long as there's another producers or there's another presenter that is going to continue with this event. So you can just leave. And then you have like a few tabs over here. So this is actually tabs to show health and performance. This is just to show the performance of your computer. And then we have this is like live event Q&A because we enable this just now, so you can see that for instance you have new questions or there's published questions. You can choose to dismiss questions if you feel like. Okay, and then we have also meeting notes, and again this is limited to a number of people. And then you can have like meeting chat, for instance, and then you can have this is like the number of attendees, okay, or the people attending your event. Okay, and then yeah, for example, I already accepted. Thank you. And then you have settings. So settings is the same thing. If you want to just use built-in microphones or speaker or anything else, or you can just use your headset. Okay, next we can just close this one. Okay. So and then now, so you are ready for everything else here. You can just send live. This is for live event. Okay. And now we are up here. Okay, but it's still pre-live because you haven't Disturbing. Okay. So what you can do is you can just click start here. So they said once you start, you can stop and restart. The event can last up to 16 hours from start time, and attendees will watch at about 10 to 20 seconds delay. Okay, so you can just continue. So now the audience will be able to see your presentation up here, will be able to see you, and the status is already changed to live. Okay, so this is on the creating live event. So if you're done, you can just end the whole session. So you can just end your live event. And you can just hang up here. So you can go back to your calendar. So here, if you don't want to anymore, you can just cancel this. And the same thing, you can just, okay. So this happens depending on the connection, but definitely you can delete and cancel this. Okay, cancel. Okay, and then calls. This is where you can actually call someone. If you want to use the calls one, but definitely I do not know like the policy of USM. I don't think they would allow us to actually dial in someone else through this. Okay, and then files. So files tabs on your left-hand side, they will show you all the recent files that you have. So you can just access it at any time. And then you have Microsoft Teams within the Microsoft Teams file. You can, just go like, the project, these are the recent files or the files that I already have. Okay, or you can go to download files. So you can just go, this is your download, you can just download it this again or something like that. And you can also have OneDrive. So I have lots of things within my OneDrive, video, something like that. So you can just access it here. You can upload new files to my OneDrive. You can create new files within my OneDrive, for instance. Okay, or else you don't want to use OneDrive, you can add another cloud storage. You can choose from Dropbox, a Box, or ShareFile, or Google Drive, as you prefer. So this is where within the Microsoft Teams, you can have a lot of things going on. So this will allow you to have more efficient collaboration with your team members or with your students. And you will always be notified for any updates, providing that you already set up the notifications to be on and for you to be notified. Okay. And then again, here we have like ellipses here or more tabs here that you can add on if you class or something like that. Okay, you can have help button. Okay, another things that I didn't show to you guys is actually up here. So you can use slash sign. This is like command sign. You use slash signs. You have like lots of things right now. So I choose like I click available here. So they are going to change right now my status from in a meeting. It's going to change to available right now. So this is a shortcut of to do lots of things. Okay. So you can, change to like, okay, right now I want to just look for my files. So they are going to show me all the files that I do have. This is like a shortcut version or anything, what's news or, and then you can type also add symbol. And then, you can actually go to Cisco WebEx meetings or you can go. So this is the shortcut ways of doing or managing your Microsoft Teams platform. Okay. And then I would like to just share with you guys and to show you a glance of. Oh, before I go further, maybe some of you guys are interested. Just now, someone did ask about the other different teams. So, for instance, we go with professional learning community, just like this is industrial project A, for instance. Okay, and then here, this is the different parts where, just now you just add someone. So only now, it's private, only team owner can add members. If you put public, so anyone in our organization, which is USF, can actually join. Okay, so you can just click up to your preference, and then you're creating a teams. Definitely, you can add the people's names up here, and then you can do it later. You can just skip these parts, and then you see that's a different tabs up here. So they have general channel still, but they have posts, files, and PLC notebook. But everything else you can just modify and add in. So this is the difference between the class team type and DPCL team types, where the class team types you would have more extra tabs like assignments, and then you would have like grades, for instance. Okay, but definitely this can be added and changed accordingly. Okay, and if like for instance you don't want these themes anymore and you are done with this theme, you can just delete the theme. Or you can choose to hide it. So you can just delete these themes. So that is going to be deleted right now. Okay, so let me just show you a glance of one of the groups I have. This is with another two students. So I have like posts with all the students, and every time so that everything's going to be notified, and that's the file thing, yeah, class material that I shared with the students. And then class notebooks, remember that just now when you created notebook for students, but it was not shown in our Microsoft Teams course because there are no students at the moment with within these teams. So in here I have like two students under this team. So I have this tab with individual students. So each of the student, they would have their own tabs on project and I notes. And then I have another student here that I created already LI and project notes, but then the student created for herself additional tabs. So this is, they have more options, if they want to actually do it. Okay, and then assignments. I did give them one assignment one time, and then as you said that it's already assigned, and then the deadline was already passed, and then I already graded this one, and then this is really how the students. You see here to grade, so I didn't grade one because this is one case where that's turned in 13 hours late, so you'll be notified on this. You can give direct feedback here, and then this is the graded one. You can go and check the graded one. So I already returned, my comments on this. If you want to see, you can just see, the works here, and then there's no points, and then there's some feedback. So you can always switch and change to the next person and else. Okay, and then you can just return. You can just close this. So this is assignments, and then that's grades part. So because there's no points for this one, so they're just going to show return and return. Okay, and then you can open student works and you can return. Okay, so you can do a lot of things within just this Microsoft Teams, and you can communicate with the student. They can just send messages through the chat, and then you'll be notified. So and normally you won't take it longer. Sometimes I didn't realize about the tabs because I left the computer for seconds or for like half an hour. And then when I came back, there was an email in our Outlook where they notified that okay, this particular person had sent the message and what are the message, and then you can reply right there in that particular Outlook channel. Or else you can just go back and then to your teams and start replying to those messages from your students or your colleagues or other team members. Okay, I think that's all about the Microsoft Teams. And thank you so much for joining me. But I will just go ahead and take a look at the chat parts if you do have any. I'm sure there's lots of questions that are here. Let's see. Oh, let's keep moving. Okay, hold a second. Thank you so much for Dr. Nur Azman for sharing this MT versus WebEx things. Again, this is the platform depends on you. Okay, I have answered this. Skip movie. Okay, hold second. I'm so sorry. Okay, there's lots of incoming questions, I guess. I tried compare eLearn and MT, which one is easier to give an assignment to the students. This is depend against on your preference. But again, in eLearn, the student will always be notified also through email, something like that. But personally, I prefer Microsoft Teams. But still, for whatever thing is under USM, is good that you use eLearn also. You can use Microsoft Teams for your student if you want to as an additional things or group things with the students or with your collaboration in the industry, something like that. But I think we do have to achieve that blended status on eLearn. That's for the KPI of USM. So definitely we have to, it is good to go with that one to help USM to achieve the KPI. Okay. Let me see. Oh my God, it's moving. I'm sorry, I'm trying to scroll up here. Let me just and stop sharing here. You can just open up the chat.
Assalamualaikum Dr. Hayati dan
Salam
juga
warahmatullahi.
CDA Dr. Azman sini.
Ada Tasman, ya.
Yeah. Tadi
Terima kasih sharing the difference between WebEx and Microsoft Teams.
saya cubalah yang saya tahu, saya tolong jawab banyak dah soalan tadi tu.
Okay.
Okay. Satu lagi yang you tunjuk nak schedule event apa tu. Only admin can do that. Those who has administrative right.
Yes.
Orang biasa tak dapat, macam saya tak dapat. So banyak restriction lah.
Okay.
Cuma contohnya kita nak get a list of address untuk just masuk kan, address list apa semua tu kita tak ada kan, orang biasa. So maybe
in that case you can use the link.
The link macam mana?
Get the link. Macam tadi saya tunjuk dekat live event tu, you can get the link and ask them to actually join. Or else
No. You as a lecturer, you want to organize an event, kan?
Yes.
On your own, kan? Live event, couple whatever event. So as long as you don't have admin right, you cannot do that. Maybe the CDA has to look, or e-learning people has to look on allowing certain number of people to be put in an admin right, given admin right. Maybe in one PTJ or this thing, who are the people who has some technical background, administrative right? So they are given that, put in the admin group.
Yes, that's
and the other thing is for analytics. For example, I want to see who comes in, when, all these things. So the admin only can do that.
Okay.
That's for our evidence.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes, very important.
This is like, for instance, definitely there's like some limitation of which I didn't know about this, but I do know there's also another limitations. Like we have another. I mean, like right now it's accessible to those academic staff, but at the same time there's like certain functions on the file tabs or that you can the status of the works or anything else that's actually according to the policy that is subscribed by USM. So again, we all have to go back to USM, I think, to ask them for more allowance in terms of the freedom to go around and switch things, because they have definite settings, but they have actually provided lots of access to a lot of features. But in your case, I think this is something that I think we can bring forward to maybe through the helps of CDAE, for instance. Thank you so much for your input.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tasman. Okay, I will try to go back and see the questions again. Maybe somebody's already helped me out. Tasman did help to answer those questions. Thank you so much. Yes, anything as a guest, you can, there are some limiting features, something like that. But definitely this again, you can actually change according to your preference to allow them to access things. Yes.
Dr. Hayati, I'm Go from WEBEX.
Hi, Dr. Go. Okay.
This is a very useful session for me because I'm still very new to this Microsoft team. Just talking about, because I am seriously considering to embed this into my eLearn. Just want to know that because just now I saw some response saying that if we embed this MT in the eLearn, we are able to get the blended learning. So just to clarify, does it mean that by using the label itself, all the activities in the Microsoft team will be counted?
I don't think so. I think because anything that's happening within the Microsoft Teams is within the Microsoft Teams. Because in eLearn, you have the activity tabs, right? So that's the difference. Yeah, that's the same thing that I experienced when I used, for instance, Genially, the one that, the platform that I showed like 2 weeks ago. I embed Genially inside of the eLearn, but at the same time, if there's any activities, there is not going to be reflected as part of eLearn system. So you still have to create another activity within the eLearn or something like that. The students can upload some assignments or things up there. Yeah, that's one of the, I think, the thing that is actually not linked together.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. But this is like, this platform like Microsoft Teams, I think if you don't want to use it for your courses, definitely you can use it, for collaborative projects with industry, for instance, or with, your international collaborators, or within, your departments itself, or across, your departments within USM. Okay, so that's so many things. Thank you so much for joining. I'm trying to still go through some questions. Let's keep moving. Or else another thing is, if you have more questions, if you want to know more about this Microsoft Teams, you can always you can go to chat button within the Microsoft Teams, and then you can, type in my name, and then you can see that, my email just there. You can click and you can just message me. Then I will be able to actually reply to your questions, privately. Because I tried to actually go to the question parts, but it keeps moving down because there's so many chats happening right now. But anyone else that feel free, you can just turn on your microphone. I can just try to address your question if it's possible. Yeah. Okay.
I have a questions.
Okay.
I post in the chat. I'm Dr. Lo. I tried when we schedule the meeting. That means the meeting, let's say it will be held tomorrow. When I add the attendees, I found that I need to add the name or the email one by one. Is it possible that I can?
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Okay. Can I just add I have created the team. Is there any button that I can just create the team and then it will automatically add all the attendees in that team members?
Yes, within the channel, they all will be notified. Okay, so I will just show you right now. Let me share again. Okay, I will share my screen. Okay, like for instance, you create calendar here, and then you want to have a meetings, right? You said. So I will just put like meeting 1. Okay, maybe meeting what, and then you can add in their names or anything else. But what you can do is, even without adding the required attendees, you can actually add to each channel. So which teams that you have created, for instance. So like for instance, I want to send this to all the team members within Microsoft Teams course that I have right now. So just click on the channel part. Okay, and then you see over here, so you can just type the meeting details, and then they already have like the times and everything else. So once you are done with this, what you can do is, thank you, Akim. Okay, so what you can do is actually you can just send this. Okay. Okay, now, so now you can see that it's being created in your calendar, right? And then okay, it's not yet done. Normally just change and switch this up. Okay, so now it's ready. So you see within the chats or activities later on. Oh, this is another thing. So you have some right now. You can go back to your feeds or your teams. They will be posted on the channel. So right now, everyone's within that particular channel because I didn't set the notification for this Microsoft Teams course for this particular ones. But for everyone that you want to actually invite, you don't have to add in their email address as long as they are within the teams and they are permitted to have access to the general channel. So they will be notified that there's a meeting tomorrow. Okay, so if they click on here, they can always go up here and then they can always join. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. I answered.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I thought we need to add one by one the name.
No, you don't have to. I know that it's tiring.
Thank you. Okay, now I understand.
Okay. Okay, let me go back because Wanzana said there's a Q&A tab. Okay. Okay. So do we need to do all these things during meeting? We can create this file beforehand. Oh yes, no, you can do it on the go. You don't have to worry about preparing everything. You can just work on it. The file materials. But if you want during the meeting you want to upload the material and share with participants, you can do so. So a lot of things it can just be done. You can share with your participants later on. Okay, and then another thing is that I think I delete the Microsoft live event. Okay, let me go back and see if I have deleted the event that I created just now. Okay. I just don't remember to share this with you guys. Okay, sorry. Okay, so thank God we still have this. So remember that just now we just went through the live event, right? Because you saw already like during the meetings how we can do it. But during the live event, it's already like done. So if you click on the calendar, so right now you have it's already done, right? So you have live event resources. So over here, these are some files that you can actually a Q&A report that you can download, attendee engagement reports that you can download. So recording, because I think we didn't choose it to be available for the students, so it's actually being disabled. Definitely, you can actually share this later on, so you can have more advanced option. Like right now, so you can refresh this, and you can just do whatever things, or you can just cancel the meeting right now. But it's already done. So this is one of the way of getting the live event resources. Okay, and also let me go back to some of the questions here. Who can access each student notebook? Okay, only the teachers and that particular student can access the student notebook. So the student does have the rights to add more tabs if they feel like, but you can view their works and the students would know that you can view their works and then they can access their own works, but they cannot take a peek on their friend's work, for instance, within that notebook system. Okay, in order to create themes, we still have to add in the email address of all students. Okay, no, to create themes, as I said, you can choose to add in the email address of the students, but if you have 40 students, it's crazy. So what you can do is you can just send them the link to the themes, and then the student can just click and they can just join because you already give them permission to join. Okay, as we do have that's the most, yeah. So I hope that's answered your questions. Let me just see really the chat. There's only 4 questions in the Q&A session. If we have many participants, can we invite? Yes. Are we able to schedule 2 meetings at the same time for 2 different groups of students to join their meetings? To have 2 meetings at the same time, I think it's possible if you have like 2 different, but I think it's going to be chaos. You can use like definitely you can use like WebEx, for instance, and also another ones you can use Microsoft Teams, because you can use different platforms. Even Zoom, you can add in within this Microsoft Teams. Okay. 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 You can create meetings through Teams. Yes. You can create meetings through Teams if you feel like. Create Teams through meetings. Through the Teams itself. Is the one that I show you through the format style. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Shamsurizal. Okay, again, the meetings can be created through your Teams on that post part, or you can actually go to calendar and create your team. So either way, it just work. Okay.
Sorry, Dr. Hayati, can I ask something?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, there is our school to combine team, and then which means during the session we want to access the webcam.
Okay.
And then questions. Is it possible to extra tools to team so that we can invigilate the exam session at the same time?
You can actually try that. I haven't tried that personally, but one thing is, even though you can vigilate them through or proctor them through this, webcam, but you won't be able to see everything's around them, right? They can like glance through on the other side. They can have notes on. So I think it's a bit challenging still, unless they can actually show around their surrounding or something like that. But we will never know what's going to happen. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. It's breaking.
Is it possible for me to view 60 students at one time? The video, 60 video.
No, I don't think so. If I'm not mistaken, the maximum for this Microsoft Teams actually, I think 9 videos at one time, if I'm not mistaken. But they do have like new updates that I haven't seen. But so far, I think I'm quite sure about the 9 grids videos. But the same things like WebEx, for instance, you can have lots of people within that system, but you always have to switch next. But at one time, just be able to see all at once, I don't think that is possible.
Sorry, one more last questions about the
that's
assignment.
okay.
Yeah, about the assignment for this Microsoft Teams. I haven't got any experience. About the assignments, is it possible for me to give quiz, and the quiz functions almost similar to e-learning? For example, if I want to shuffle the question, if I want to do a lot of things with the question itself, set the timing and a lot of things, or the functions is quite limited. Have you tried it before with the assessment?
I haven't tried the quiz using this Microsoft Teams function actually.
Okay.
But definitely you can try to navigate. One thing, because I normally use Socrative, so you can actually in Socrative within that. I love Socrative in a sense. Maybe perhaps Microsoft Teams can do that, but I'm used to the Socrative because you can click the start timing for the student to access the question. You can stop the timing for the students at the same time, and then you can have reports on individual students, their answers, and then you have if multiple choices can be like pre-graded by the Socrative with the exception of short answer questions or long answer questions. Yeah, so
there is a possibility. So there is using external link when
yes,
I use
you can.
Microsoft.
Yes,
All right,
yes. Yeah, because
thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, the student can actually view the grade. Yes, they can see everything. This is a very open system. If the student is a guest, yes, the student. I have the students as a guest. They can access the notebook and do lots of other things. Again, this is depends on how you create it. The names of the video for video is actually, what do you mean by video? Dr. Wan Amir, could you please explain what do you mean by video that I mentioned? I mentioned that. Oh, the test. I use Socrative. Okay, this. They have many features. Yeah, Socrative. Yeah. And you can download that. You can have like as the how to say evidence for each of the students. You can download as PDF files for each of the students, and it's free. For that features, you don't have to subscribe. Definitely, if you want to go premium, you can go with the premium one. Okay. Can we embed turning in into the assignment? Turning in, okay. This is the things haven't tried, but if I'm not mistaken, turning in it can be only assessed by the academic staff that have already registered through USM. So I don't think this can be available for the students unless there's a free version of turning in. Yes, that's the difference. Because I do know that some of my colleagues, they don't have access to turning in because you have to get permission from the university, something like that, to to assess on that, if I'm not mistaken, because that's how I went through it, like 4 years ago. Yeah. And then, yes, it's available for any platforms, Mac and Windows. Okay, so you don't have to worry about the systems or anything. Okay. If you guys do have any more questions, you can definitely private message me through the chat. As I said that already, you can just type my names, and then they will show my email. You can just click on it and you can just type the message, and then I will try to reply to you privately later on. Or you can just if not today, you can definitely do it for tomorrow or another week. So it's totally up to you. Okay. Thank you so much for actually joining us today. I tried to scroll up again and to look for any things. This session is being recorded by CDE. You can actually go to CDE YouTube channel where you can actually go back. If you do have questions or some other questions, definitely you can just text me through the chat system. You can just email me. You can also find direct link or shortcut link to some trainings provided by Microsoft Teams itself. Okay. Okay, I think that's all. Anyone else want to actually turn on the mic and ask questions? Oh, that's question. Can Socrates give different marks for each? Yes, yes. Okay, Socrates can give marks. It's pre-recorded for multiple choice question. You have to actually set up, like for instance, the answer already. As long as you said it already, they can actually grade it for you automatically. And then another thing is you can actually choose to shuffle the questions. So the students, if I did this in the computer labs where the students sit next to each other, but they won't be able to have the same sequence of the questions because they are these are being shuffled by the formatting that I already chose. And then for certain choices like and some so the marks for each of the multiple choice questions, you can set it up. You can just go with 1 marks or 2 marks, the student would know. And then you, in terms of like short questions, short answer, or also long answer. So you can actually do the grading by yourself, because later on you can individually download each student's file, and then you can assess it, and then it's going to be saved in PDF, and then you can just share those things with the students later on, and then they can have the copy of their tests or quizzes done through the Socrates. Okay. All my students has bracket guess at the end of their names. Yeah. This is like the settings comes with the Microsoft Teams, but it does nothing. Just mention that this is considered as a guest, but as long as you already add them as part of your teams, then you don't have to worry about it. They are part of the teams, and then you can actually determine the types of access they can actually have within that particular teams itself. Okay, when I invite into, I don't think that's work for me. Could be for your settings, but normally it works. You can start to refresh it. You can give a try. If not, sometimes we have like individual glitch in the system or something. You can contact, I think, PPKD. If I'm not mistaken, they are the one in charge of the Office 365. Okay. If you have more questions, you can definitely send it to me. So anyone else want to actually ask a question? Still have, okay. We only have few people left in the attendees. So thank you so much for joining us today. And then, so I think I will just end the session today. Is it okay, Fanzana? I don't think that there's any more question. Terima kasih, Dr. Zulkifli. Thank you. Fanzana, I said the question. Okay. Thank you all for joining us today. And if anything, definitely you can just contact me directly and privately. So thank you. Have a nice day and selamat Hari Raya Aidilfitri. InsyaAllah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih, Puan Zana.
Terima kasih Dr. Hayati. Remind semua participant untuk isi feedback form